What is up, everybody? We are at Benton Hall in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Along on this adventure, we got Covert Paranormal, FPRI, and Middletown Paranormal Investigations. We're going to be here all night at Benton Hall. So stay tuned. We'll see you inside. Let's do it. Oh shit.
We felt he had a lot to do down here. That was kind of the way we felt him a lot. People experienced a lot with him down there. That's the first place I ever personally encountered him and had one of the most real paranormal experiences in my life. And so we believe that's probably why that stairwell's like that, because that's kind of his gateway. So coming through here, I know I told you guys, or at least some of you, once you came yesterday, about the principal who was stabbed in here. This is the principal's office.
Hi, Karen.
There was a set of parents who split up. The father wasn't supposed to be picking the kid up from school. They would go down this back stairwell to go out to the car line. Father showed up to pick the kid up from school. Principal said, nope, he's not supposed to go with you. He's supposed to go with his mom. Dad was mad. My kid, I'm taking him. This is back in the 50s. People didn't split up that much. And stabs the principal. It was a superficial wound, but he did wrestle the father and chase him to keep him from taking the child all the way out of this room and back down into the stairwell, and left a trail of blood that was stained into the floorboards.
We can do it in this room.
Yes, you guys are welcome to the black box, and then this door back here looks like a false wall.
Doesn't really show up, but
Yeah. That's why I try to use like the light or the GoPros that has like more of a focused.
yeah. Oh, blue looks cool.
What's up, Shayla? Hi, Karen.
It's Tyler. Tyler. It's Karen. It's Dan. Dan. Tyler. You're blue.
Hi. Go. Guys, this is the black box.
Business. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's fine. And just like any building, of course, we ask you not to take part of the building with you. That's always a bad idea.
It's cool.
It's totally bears. It's mega mine.
Yeah. That pause will freak you out. Even when you know it's there and you know it's coming.
During COVID, we had a drip that went from the ceiling to the basement, or from the attic to the basement. So you had to have these floors redone. These are the original floorboards from the building.
Right.
So if that's of any interest to anyone.
When you have any interest, like we're paying to take one with us, or?
We can
No,
sign one of those.
I'll tell you something about that later.
So, this is our room.
Yeah.
Again, like the events room. You've got this huge window that is a lot of information.
I'm not gonna shine it in your face, but.
So we typically discourage investigating in here, but if you guys want to go for it, you're welcome to it. But anything EMF based is probably not going to work because you're just Wi-Fi routers all through the floor.
So this room stay away from, basically?
I mean, you can, but there's about 6 to 8 spots within the room where you'll hit a Wi-Fi router that's right under you.
Is there a Wi-Fi password we can use, or?
So the Wilkes Playmakers has a guest one that I think isn't Wi-Fi or isn't password protected, but we do have one that is, and that's.
Do you know how to spell?
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm getting it back for the chocolate.
He just said it was coming. Oh no.
Debbie, this is Benton.
It's Bacon Hall.
Bacon.
No. Bacon. I love bacon. Look at all them Dodges out there.
there.
We're going up the stairs. Hi, it's Middletown. So right here, this is Clarence Benton, Wilkes playmaker, benefactor.
Sheila said, "Oh my God, mic drop! That was awesome." I'm just getting back earlier.
Where'd they go?
That is the basement.
This is where we're all set up.
Since it's
I told you, right there in the back, he loves to lay those down. He knows
It feels amazing in here.
Should have something show up on Wise Coast.
It feels amazing in here.
Good. So, obviously this is the stage. We get a lot of energy up here. Now we don't know, there's a couple reasons we can anticipate why. One, I told you, one of our spirits here is a little bit of a show off. He kind of likes the attention. Another is it takes a lot of energy to do a show, to perform. You pump a lot of energy into the room. That could be why there's a lot of activity in here. You also get, most of our people spend most of their time in here. So obviously that's where you're going to see most things because you're usually in here. But this stage was originally, you'll notice the floorboards change about right here. They're pointed this way. There's your original stage. Then there was a build-on that went out to here. Right under here is a brick wall with a small gap in it. And then you have a build-on that went out to here and added these wings. So this room has been altered a lot. There was at one point a library in this room.
Wow.
So lots of changes in here, and I think that affects a lot of the energy. We do get the spirits I told you about up the chairs, up in the tech booth, on the catwalk. In this room, they really love motion sensor devices and anything with immediate feedback, like an S-Box, Phasma-Box, Estes. I will tell you, in this building, they love Estes. They're well aware of how it works. They're well aware of how well they can use it. And they really like to almost kind of target that method. We've had them ask for that method by name.
Really?
If you get out the S-Box, I will tell you, they will expect Estes after that. Because we typically do that in our events. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
Dude's
That's
raising
very
his
good.
hand over here.
So you said S-Box, but is it that they know the S-Box specifically, or do they go after like any other kind of ITC device, or?
Yeah, anything
So
that's
yeah,
ITC.
if you use anything ITC, what they're going to expect is you're going to do Estes next. Because we do that with our public investigations. This is one of the last rooms we'll hit when we're doing our guided vigils. And we'll do that, and then we'll go into Estes. They'll get fed up using the ITC pretty quickly if they're not getting the responses they want. They're very intelligent here. We've had them on several occasions ask for Estes by name while using another response. So through the spirit box, it'll say Estes.
Necrofighting or portal. Any luck with those or?
We don't use phone apps, so we use a Phasma box, if you're familiar with it.
Yeah.
We use the S box until batteries corroded in it. We also use an SB7, but that's a TBD to determine when we'll get these out again.
Yeah.
But those are the main things that we use with like the ITC type devices.
And we do have some of our equipment here if you guys need to use it if you don't have that kind of thing.
I think we're covered.
Yeah.
John's got everything in the
John
book.
has everything you could want.
We're
More.
fantastic. So you do get a lot of that in here. I will say that since they're so aware of how Estes works, we kind of have a rule that we don't let anyone do Estes by themselves in this room, or really anywhere in the building.
So no isolation.
So we'll let, like if someone's doing Estes on the stage and we've got people out in the audience, we'll make sure there's at least one other person on the stage. So if something happens, they can quickly get to that person. Because as I'm sure you guys know, Estes is very disorienting.
Yeah.
And because they're well aware of how it works, they will draw from that person a lot, and Estes makes you very vulnerable. So if you guys do it, I would prefer that you have someone like within 20 feet of the person, not just put them in a room and walk away. So the building itself, it was a school. After it was a school, it was abandoned, purchased. The Health Foundation used the building for some time. There was a little bit of shady stuff that happened that kind of got them shut down with that. They decided the building, so when Clarence Benton bought it after it was a school, he decided it wasn't worth fixing up and sold it to the Health Foundation for $1 under the condition that it remained Benton Hall in honor of his late wife. Then the Health Foundation decided it also wasn't something they were worth fixing up all the way because they wanted to make it a health center. Did a little bit of shady stuff, putting some things here that shouldn't have been here, and eventually rented it to the Wilkes Playmakers for $1 a month. They came in, started fixing things up, and eventually bought the building.
Wonder how much
under
they
the
bought it
condition
for.
that it remained named Benton Hall. And we have been running it since the late 90s. Trying to think if there's anything else. Yes.
So my mom, hello mom,
Mommy?
said ask who the old man ghost might be, like a handyman kind of person. It's like he watches over the building.
So are we talking about the,
She's picking up on something. I don't know.
okay.
It's not George, is it?
So George, we're not sure. George, a lot of people like to interpret that as a child. But we do have a spirit. So we have 2 confirmed separate spirits in the building. We have it confirmed that there's others. The only thing I can think might be old man. There's 2 options. We do have one down in the black box that usually doesn't leave. Claims to be associated with the church that was here. Has used the word reverend before in reference to himself. Then we do have a spirit. She's very pleasant. One of the most positive spirits we've ever encountered. Loves to hear the piano played. Loves to hear old hymns played on the piano. Logan, one of the people with our team, can play the piano really well. And we've had him play some of the pianos in the building and got a lot of response with that. She likes to stay up here on this side of the room or down in the Great Hall. And then we have one other entity, the one that claims to have never been alive. We call him the man with the wingtip shoes because we've had some really clear sightings of him before. And he claims to have been brought here during the abandonment of the building when all of
So
that
is
happened.
he just an energy then?
Claims to be a dark entity. Something that was brought here maybe during those sacrifices and things.
As
That is what
far
he
as I
and the
can
other
tell,
spirits here claim.
It's not anything demonic in nature. To me, it presents more of an elemental type spirit, more tied to probably the element of the earth, especially because there's a lot of like Native American history tied to like this entire area. So that's what I suspect it is. But you know, spirits lie.
Yeah.
So
So that's why
who
we say
knows?
it claims to be something that was brought here during that time. It claims it was never alive. Of course, we can just take its word
Yeah.
for its word. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Yeah, what about, and I asked this at like a lot of abandoned places or older places, rodents. Do you have any like mice or rats or anything running around making noise?
So we don't. We have a regular exterminator because it is a current business. We had a bee problem at one point, but as far as I know, that has been dealt with.
Bats.
We used to have a bat problem in the bell tower, but we don't anymore. That has been dealt with. We have an exterminator who comes in twice a month and inspects for things like that, just so that we don't, because we have a lot of children, we have plays, we have things like that. We definitely don't want anyone exposed to any dangers.
So, unlike St. Albans, where I had the pleasure of walking down the hallway to be attacked by bats, completely unexpectedly, and that's not a knock on that place, I love it. But I'll never forget that experience. You won't just randomly get attacked by a possum, a bat, a raccoon.
That's unfortunate. That's the kind of thing.
Very regularly have
Dang, that's why we came here.
Yeah, this is a functioning business. Very regularly have the attic and places where animals could hide checked. Anything else?
John, you got it?
Cool beans. Hey, Johnny.
What's up?
How's that pre-workout?
It's got me ready to go. It's got me sweating over here.
Can you describe to me that entity that kind of lures, like, let's say someone's in a group, right? And they'll try and almost separate a person from the pack.
Single people out.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do. We blame that on him.
Heard of
He's
Benton.
usually our very negative entity, and when I say he, I'm talking about the man with the wingtip shoes.
Yeah, I heard it.
He's usually our mean one. He's the one who'll come through. He'll cuss you. He'll tell you terrible things and be very rude. We've had spots where we'll have people investigating up here, in the dressing room, in the black box, and it'll call for people by name and pull people away. And usually it doesn't pull them away to mess with them. What it does is if you're in here and there's someone in the black box, it'll say me, Dustin, and Logan were up here. It'll pull Dustin downstairs to mess with me and Logan. So it won't pull him downstairs to mess with Dustin. It'll pull him downstairs to mess with us.
So do you think it's more separating people and like nothing against anybody, like it's a serious question. Maybe some people that like have a stronger will, stronger.
We've thought of that because it does do that with when we'll have guests in here, and it does pull people. I think it pulls people that it thinks has authority away. Because typically it'll pull either me or Dustin away from people, and typically in the building we're the two people with the authority when we're in here doing things.
So
We're the ones in charge, so it will typically pull whoever it feels like is in charge away from the rest of the group to mess with the group. But it won't mess with the person in charge as much. It also does not like authority. It has a strong, this is my building kind of thing. And so if you present yourself as a person of authority, typically it won't like you that much. It'll say mean things. It hates Dustin.
So in other words, if Dan
Hey, I'm ready.
went about
I'm
saying
ready.
this is my building or something like that, you think that he would be
Big off.
That would definitely be something that would probably provoke.
What?
If you said this was his building.
I wouldn't advise that.
Yeah, I wouldn't advise that. That definitely
Don't do
be
it,
along
Dan.
the line of provoking here.
But at the same time, do what
It's
you
your
feel is
experience.
We gotta get activity somehow.
And I definitely feel like you guys are gonna have activity. We've had a lot of stuff happening already today. We were in here last night, kind of warned them, hey, there will be a group you guys aren't used to
Got
coming
ringing in my ears.
I heard
And I think they're a little pumped about that. I think they
Yeah.
are. But yeah, he's definitely. I've had issues as a director and as someone being in charge inside the building, back and forth with him, almost like a power pool at times. And I definitely think he finds that provocative.
Cool.
All right. Anything else from anyone else?
I feel like
Just got sound detected in the basement.
nice. Well, Logan might have just got
Oh, okay.
There's a mild chance that could be the case.
They're probably listening.
I just had ringing in my ears. That was weird.
Yeah, you'll get that a lot. You'll get a very crowded and panicky feeling. He gives that energy off a lot. He definitely gives that panicky.
The man in the wingtip shoes.
And you don't have a name for him or anything?
We've not got a name for her. We've asked before, and usually it just doesn't come through clear enough. George isn't a name that we've gotten. That's a name that was given to him before we were even part of the building, but he does acknowledge it.
Okay.
So we've had him. We've asked before, are we speaking with the one that is called George, and he's aware of that's what he's called. But yeah, the man with the wingtip shoes will definitely give you that opposing energy. I think he likes that a lot.
And if you guys want us to cut the
We'll deal
ACs
with him in a
off,
little while.
No.
especially later in the night,
It might get
if you're
freezing
having a
later.
hard time picking up anything, we're willing to.
They've
Does it
never
get
been
super
much-
quiet when it's off? When
It
they're
does
off?
get pretty quiet, yeah. We've never
I don't
had too
think we
much
need
trouble
one
with it unless
nowadays.
you're trying to do EVPs.
Gotcha.
Turn half of them off.
I don't know if we need more.
Maybe.
Yeah, I wouldn't say, I'd say one is just as loud as having them all on. Yeah,
But-
because they are custom built for it being a historical
Yeah.
building for the theater.
And I mean, at this point, you guys have experience what it's like to have them not on. And I think y'all can agree that it's better to have one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool.
So we can.
Let's get into it. You ready? You ready, John? You ready? Ready, Tom? Ready? Ready? Let's do it. You ready? You ready?
Let's get into it.
I'm ready.